All right, welcome. Today we're going on a kind of digital safari. We're going to be tracking a creature that lives and hunts right in the world of social media. And I guarantee you've run into it before, maybe without even knowing it. So let's get our expeditions started.
I want you to start with this question right here. Just for a second, forget everything you think you know about how ideas are supposed to work. Instead, try to imagine an idea that literally doesn't care if it's true or good or helpful. An idea whose one and only goal is to survive and to replicate, just like a virus or a vine in the jungle. That's the creature we're tracking today. So let's pull out our field guide and get a proper ID on this thing, this new species that has really come to dominate our modern social media world. It has a very, very particular set of traits, and I promise once you learn them, you are going to start seeing it everywhere. Okay, here's its official name, the Magic Potion Idea Pool Lifeform. Now, the key thing to get here is that it's not just a single idea. It's a whole set of ideas, an idea pool, that all work together. And its primary drive, its core instinct, it's not to inform you, it's not to enlighten anyone. Its only goal is to make more copies of itself. That's it. So how does it do that? How does it replicate? Well, it does it through us. We're the hosts. The source material for this whole explainer points out that people who get into a symbiotic relationship with this life form can start behaving in ways that are, quote, uncorrelated with their own traditions. It's a pretty wild and, honestly, kind of chilling concept, right? An idea that can make its host act against their own history, against their own values, all just to help it spread. So how does it spread? I mean, every creature needs a way to find food and reproduce, and this one is absolutely no different. It's actually evolved this incredibly effective set of hunting tactics that are just perfectly suited for the emotional landscape of the internet. These are its go-to weapons. It taps right into our most basic, neolithic emotions. Fear and outrage are basically its fuel. It creates this super powerful in-group by just relentlessly dehumanizing an out-group. And it takes these big, complex, messy issues and flattens them into a simple black and white battle of us versus them. It makes the world feel super easy to understand and gives you a really clear enemy to rally against. But, as powerful as pure emotion is, the life form's most clever trick is something else entirely. It doesn't just mess with how you feel, it actually messes with how you think by changing the very meaning of the words you use every day. This is how it happens. The life form co-opts what the source calls traditional we memes, these big, powerful, unifying ideas we all share. So take a word like freedom. We all think we know what that means, right? The liberty to think for yourself. But this creature, it hijacks it. It redefines it in its own favor. And all of a sudden, freedom doesn't mean individual liberty anymore. No, now it means absolute, unquestioning loyalty to the group. It's a total bait and switch happening at the level of language itself. Okay, so the creature has hunted, and it's captured a host. But just one host is never enough. The real goal is to build a colony, like a hive mind totally dedicated to its survival and replication. And you better believe it has a clear process for making that happen. The first step is just getting someone engaged, but the really crucial next step is indoctrination. See, the life form can't risk its hosts being exposed to competing ideas or, outside influences. So it gets to work building this digital fortress around them, making sure that the colony is the only trusted source of information and, really, identity. And here's the playbook. First, it demands these public, performative shows of loyalty. Think about specific hashtags or profile picture frames, or just repeating slogans over and over. This isn't just about showing support. It's a public commitment that makes it way harder to ever back away. Then, it reframes any kind of question or criticism as an act of betrayal. And finally, if anyone does stray, the punishment is swift: shame, digital harassment, and ultimately being kicked out of the group. And the control mechanisms just go deeper and deeper. It creates this sense of learned helplessness, making people feel like they're totally powerless without the group. It actively works to suppress and crowd out all the other parts of a person's life, their friendships, family ties, work, until the only thing left that matters is the colony. It literally narrows the host's entire world. Now, this is really crucial to understand. This creature is not just some random mutation. It's a product of its environment. It is perfectly, almost terrifyingly, adapted to the digital world that it lives in. The Magic Potion lifeform thrives for one very simple reason. The way social media platforms are built actually rewards its behavior.
The algorithms, they don't care about truth, they don't care about nuance, they care about one thing: engagement. And this creature is an absolute engagement-generating machine.
So the lifeform's whole value system is just a mirror image of the platform's metrics. It doesn't value truth or community or well-being. It values what gets clicks, what sparks outrage, and whatever the algorithm is going to boost. It basically reverse-engineered our entire digital ecosystem for its own survival.
And just look at all the ways it exploits this environment. It's constantly shifting the goalposts on what truth even is to fit its story. It frames everything as a zero-sum battle, where if another group gains something, you must have lost something. It optimizes every single message for algorithmic amplification. It simplifies, it polarizes, it reduces everything to a simple binary choice. It is the perfect digital predator. So after this whole tour through the digital jungle, we finally get to the most important part of our explainer. We've identified the creature, we've studied how it behaves. Now what? Well, this is your field guide.
Why did we just spend all this time mapping out the DNA of a bad idea? Because out there in the wilderness of the internet, being able to identify the predators, well, that's the first rule of survival.
And here's the key takeaway from all of this. You can't argue with this life form, you can't reason with it. It just doesn't operate on the level of logic or facts. The goal of this field guide isn't to teach you how to fight it, but simply how to see it, to recognize its tactics, to understand its motives, and to basically develop an immunity to its influence. Awareness, that's your shield. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. You have the field guide now. You know what to look for: the appeal to outrage, the redefinition of words, the demands for performative loyalty. The jungle is still out there for sure, but you're no longer walking through it blind. The question is, what are you going to do with that clarity?